reader, teacher, and speaker, and just all around metaphysical enthusiast. So, anyways, it's been 6 years since I have done a recording here on YouTube. And I figured after I went to UAC this past weekend, or past week, UAC is the United Astrology Conference, and it is the largest conference of international astrologers all in one place. And oh my gosh, it was so amazing. It was so wonderful to actually get to meet and talk with fabulous astrologers like Rick Levine and Robert Hand and Stephen Forrest. And oh my gosh, it was incredible. And it's because of that event that it has motivated me to get back out there and talk about astrology again, which is my love, and tarot. So I will be starting to do monthly astrology forecasts, and then also weekly tarot guidance. So if you would like to get that, I hope that you'll sign up for my channel and we can tune in. Okay. All right. So I did want to talk about, I posted a article the other day on Facebook, and I've had a lot of response to it. So I thought I would do a live video about it as well. So this past week, we lost two amazing and talented people to suicide by hanging. And it's devastating and unexpected and horrible loss to those of us that, you know, adore them from a distance, and especially those that are personally involved with them in their lives. So that is Kate Spade, who is an amazing fashion designer, and Anthony Bourdain, who I absolutely loved his raw energy and his desire to explore the world. So he was a chef and a food writer and a traveler of the world, and a great storyteller of people and different cultures kind of brought together with food. So I wanted to go over both of their charts for you to see if we can make some sense of this tragic loss. So I'm going to hold up the chart of Anthony Bourdain first and let you see that. So as you can see, this inner wheel right here is his birth chart. Now we don't have a exact time on him, so we're just using basic time of noon, okay, on the day of his birth. And then this outer wheel, the middle wheel, is actually called a progression. So it changes 1 degree per year of life. And then this wheel, the outer wheel, is the transit. So it tells us what he was experiencing the day of his death. So the first thing that we need to look at is the person that Anthony Bourdain was with his birth chart. So I'm going to bring it down here so I can see it again. So first of all, his sun was in Cancer. Cancers are extremely sensitive people and highly creative. A lot of chefs, lots of nurses are Cancer. So their purpose in life is they want to nurture people, okay? They are skilled at it and it comes natural to them. So that's where they naturally shine. So we know that Anthony made his living, you know, being a chef, being around food, and then traveling and visiting other cultures. So that was a highlight for him. He also had Venus conjunct his sun, which made him really easy to watch, and both physically and emotionally. You know, he was captivating to watch. And Venus is the planet of beauty and love. And it was important for him to love the work that he did. So it's great that he found his passion and got to live that. Now he has what is called a T-square in his chart. Now it's these two planets opposing each other, and then a planet in the middle that comes in and makes a square to each one of the planets. So that can be a challenging aspect. And so it was a strong decision, I believe, on the soul's part to come in and to master certain things. And the way that we master is we go through life's challenges, ups and downs, and we work through them. Okay. So we don't learn anything when life is going along easily and there's nothing happening. So we kind of continue to be complacent. So it's when there's bumps in the roads that we actually make some changes in our lives. So he has Uranus, which is the planet of the rebel. So it's rebel energy, it's inconsistent, it's unexpected, it's explosive, it's dynamic, and it's opposing his moon. His moon is his emotions. So he came here with a challenge in that spot. So he probably had, especially being a sensitive Cancer, very deep emotions that could erupt explosively. Okay. He also came here with both of those planets at 0 degrees. Whenever someone enters the world with a 0 degree planet, 0 degree zodiac sign in a planet, they are here to learn the lesson of that zodiac sign. So for him, he had all this explosive, fiery energy in Leo with Uranus, which is about being inventive and being creative and living life fully. But then he also needed to learn to balance and detach from his emotions. So that's the moon in Aquarius at 0 degrees. Okay. That was a challenge for him because he was such an empathetic, caring person. Okay. So he had that going on, that imbalance. Then he also has at the T square, it's T square to Neptune. Okay. Neptune is the planet of spirituality, creativity. There's wonderful things that go along with Neptune. A lot of artists, musicians have Neptune prominent. The challenge with Neptune is it can cause confusion, and it can cause, not cause, but it can aid in addiction. Okay. So, and we all know from Anthony's raw and brutal truth of his own life that he actually was an addict to cocaine and to heroin. Now, luckily, he was strong enough to beat that. Okay. And that was a huge accomplishment because that kills people a lot of the time. So now I want to just point out that even though he has these aspects, and that was a challenge for him, it was placed there as like a way for him to deal, with it. But the purpose was for him to beat that addiction. Okay. So his transits. So I wanted to say too that when you have a T square, you have these challenging aspects, Neptune square Uranus, Neptune square the moon, Uranus opposing the moon, whatever. It doesn't mean that you will have the same kind of life because we are all highly individual and we all deal with stress and challenges in our own ways. Okay. So I want to make that really clear. And there's not a way to really predict death or if somebody's going to kill themselves by a chart. It is much easier to look back after it has happened and go, oh my gosh, what was happening at that point? So with Anthony's chart, knowing that he had, these intense emotions and, he had overcome addiction, he also, the day of his death, had Saturn opposing his sun. So transiting Saturn is the planet of depression, of feeling stuck, of restriction. It can be a very challenging planet. It can also be very productive. Okay. But for him, it was opposing his sun. So he was questioning possibly his life, his life direction. I also think that it's possible that he could have gotten some bad news just prior to his decision to leave the planet. So that maybe he just didn't know how to deal with. Okay. He also had Uranus, transiting Uranus on top of his moon. And that, again, is erratic emotions coming on really strong. And it's also opposing that Neptune in his T-square of his natal chart. So that can be a huge desire to escape. Okay. So I feel like, he left the planet unexpectedly. I don't think that this was anything that was planned. on his part. I do think that there's a possibility he may have gotten some hard news and just decided that he was done trying. So I will miss him. I know that he will be greatly missed. And I guess CNN is going to continue to run his show, which is a wonderful thing because he was a humanitarian first and foremost. Okay. And he just used food to bring everybody together. So I hope that he has found peace. I do want to look at Kate Spade's chart as well. So Kate Spade also has a T-square in her chart. So she has these planets opposing each other and then that square right there. So just because you have a T-square does not mean that you're going to end your life. Okay, so I want to make that really clear. So just know that it's a challenge that you chose to come here and work through. Okay, so Kate Spade, her chart, let's see. Her sun is at 2 degrees Capricorn. So she actually was probably pretty methodical in her work and a good businesswoman as well. So the challenging part, and she had Venus and Neptune, conjunct Neptune in her chart too. So Venus, the ability to create beautiful products, and Neptune, she was inspired to create many beautiful things, specifically for women. So she has Jupiter, which is the planet of abundance and extravagance. Whatever it touches, it makes it bigger. She has that opposing Uranus and Pluto, and they're conjunct in her chart. When you have Uranus and Pluto conjunct, that means that you will more than likely have issues with anxiety. Okay. You have too much energy coming in and not like a certain way of how to release it. So, and then Jupiter opposing it just makes it even bigger for her. So she may have been very easily overwhelmed by social situations, whatever. She may not have been as outgoing as people would have liked her to have been, with the success that she had with her business. And then on top of that T-square, is the challenge to the moon again. So, and the moon is her emotions. So along with, high anxiety, she had more than likely some kind of possible addiction. I'm trying to see where Neptune is in her. Oh yeah, conjunct Venus. So it's yeah. So Venus and Scorpio and Neptune also can be prone to addictions. Okay, so I'm guessing either she had some kind of alcoholism or some kind of pharmaceutical issue. Okay, and I think that possibly. So I think there was stuff going on in her, obviously, in her personal life. So I actually saw some issues that could be causing her some high stress and anxiety. So I know that she sold her business, Kate Spade, a few years ago, made, billions off of it. And she was in the process of remaking her image after selling, the handbags and the shoes and all of that stuff. So that's always a big transformation, huge transformation. And then on top of that, she had Neptune transiting and aspecting Jupiter, her progressed Jupiter. So again, that can influence the desire to want to escape a harsh reality. And she had transiting Jupiter, conjunct her progressed Neptune, conjunct her natal Neptune, which is like a triple whammy. Okay. I think she probably had some issues going on in her marriage and just was feeling overwhelmed and did not see a way out, clearly. So she also had the transiting Saturn, which is depression, sitting conjunct her sun, her birth sun. So, so again, I hope that she has found the peace that she desperately needed. And both of them have created legacies for themselves, with leaving behind beautiful products and beautiful videos and beautiful um, sense of connection, you know. So it breaks my heart that they left the planet that way, but obviously they really felt like they just couldn't keep going. So I do want to give a shout out if you or if anybody that you know is feeling depressed, is feeling like they're stuck, you need to know that there is help, and you need to know that these transits that happen in our charts are temporary. Okay. Some of them may last a day, some of them can last for several years, but it's still a temporary factor. The planets and the cosmos are always moving. So if you can make it through one day at a time, okay, you can continue to move forward and fulfill your soul's path and your soul's journey. So I do want to give you the National Suicide Prevention Hotline number. It's 1-800-273-8255. If you or anybody you know needs help, please take a moment to reach out on that hotline, or to a family member, or to a friend. You are all sacred. You all have come here to do something completely unique that only you can do. So please don't give up the fight. Keep being you. Namaste.